Hello guys! Wait, just let me know if you can hear me and everything is fine. Okay, hi, hello. So I can see some people are joining in, that's good. Hi, my name is Afsoon and today I'm going to answer your questions about PhD life. I received many questions and I categorized them in different sections. Some of you had questions about how to start a PhD, like how can you apply, how can you approach the professors, write them an email about the language qualifications and things like that. And also you ask about the PhD itself, how can you balance your life and with work, which is a really difficult question. We're gonna get to that. And also how important is the relationship with the supervisor and things like that. And then we have the life after the PhD. What is the ambition? What can you do with your PhD? So we are just gonna go through it. So first, my background, I'm from Iran and I did my bachelor in cell biology at Phd University in Mashhad. And then I moved to Sweden for my master's degree. I did in cell and molecular biology as well. And then I moved to the UK for my PhD. Many of my lovely Iranians, you asked really specific questions, which is more related for the visa stuff, which I will maybe do live in Farsi, so we can just go through that. But today it's gonna be in English, obviously, and I think it's actually will be a good practice because if you wanna move out of the country, you have to learn English. And I think it's gonna be a really good start. And I'm not native, so I think it will be easy to follow. So yeah, speaking of English language, most of the questions about that, how soon you can apply and like if you do you really have to have your English language qualifications to apply. I would say if you want to just drop an email to the professors, just say that you are aiming to get your language skills, so that will buy you some time. And it really depends on the country you want to go, but most of the countries, yes, they will need English qualification, TOEFL, IELTS, or some other ones, but then you have to check the website and see what marks they need. So because they have different requirements, so there's no general rule for it. And then we come to the applications. So there are many ways to find a project. There are many good websites like findaphd.com or Euraccess. I can think of anything else I will tell you, but yeah, but then the thing is you have to be really sure of what you want to do because you have to think that this is gonna be your life for the next 4 or 5 years. So you have to be really sure of what project you want to study in. And you have to find that's what you're really passionate for. So what I would suggest is just investigate the topic that you're interested in and see that research questions that you have, how will it fit in the bigger landscape? What will bring it to the science? And look at some current work in your field and read some papers and see if you're actually enjoying reading those papers, because that's going to be your life for the next 5 years. And then also recognize the importance of the place you're going to, because how are you going to be happy there in that country? Is it going to be a good balance? Is it culturally okay for you? Can you settle down in that country okay? And also, it's really important to find a really good PhD supervisors. You have to think of, do you need someone to be always present and tell you what to do, or you want someone that you just can go and knock on the office whenever you need them. So you just have to be really careful with what person you'll choose. And Also have a really clear goal in mind, that why are you doing this PhD, and do you really need it? And because there are all other options, like not everyone has to do a PhD. And yeah, as I said, there are many nice websites for doing this, but the easiest way, which I was doing, is just type in the keywords you're interested in Google. That will help a lot, because it's really easy. It will bring up many projects that maybe they're not on this specific websites, because then it will bring up different countries and the cities you're interested in. So yeah, as I said, there are many funding options. So yeah, some of you asked like how I did it. I usually like making lists. So what I was doing for my master and also for my PhD, I was looking into countries. So first I pick a country, and then the university or the professor I'm interested in, and then I will make a list of pros and cons, like the weather, even, the salary, how important is this subject to me, and things like that. And I will make a list, and then I will start my applications. But sometimes you find a professor that's they don't have any available positions, and you think you really want to work with them. So it's okay. You can just drop them an email and ask if they have an available position. But yeah, so you have to be really careful with these emails. My suggestion is just don't be lazy, and by that I mean don't just copy paste an email and send it to thousands of supervisors at the same time, because they will pick on that. Don't start your email with something like, "Dear Professor, I'm interested in your research," or "I really want to work with this group," because that's not a general thing. People are requested to be in the live. No, I don't think I can do that now. Yeah, what was I saying? So yeah, so these type of emails, it shows that you're not really interested. You don't have the real intentions to work with them. So you have to be more specific. So what you can do is just go to their website, read their papers, and write really something specific for this specific person. For example, you can just write a really brief letter and specify that why you wanted to work with this person, and then reference their work back to your skills. For example, say that, "Oh, I read this paper from you, and then this X matched with my skills, and that's why I'm interested to work in this." So you have to reference it back to your skills. And yes. And yeah, the important point is also make the funding situations clear. Ask them what you really want. Sorry, I'm just reading your questions now. Okay, I'll get to that. I'll make a note. Just remind me at the end of this live. I'll get to the interview part as well. So you have to tell them, for example, that if you have an available position, and if not, I would like to apply for a scholarship. So have those things really clear and ready with you. But so the most important thing is just show that you're familiar with the professor's work and you're respecting their time, because they get so many emails, and you don't want your email to get lost in all of those emails. Most of them, they might look the same, and you want to stand out. So just do a little research and you'll stand out. And then just attach your CV, the latest version, your transcripts, and papers maybe that you've done. And another important thing, which might sound a bit easy, but I was doing it actually, check the time zone of the country you're emailing, because you don't want your email to get lost. So just send it in a way that the first thing they'll open their email box in the morning, your email is the latest one, so it will come up first. That's also really important, I think. And if they don't get any replies back, just send them an email again in a week. it's not, don't feel that you're bothering them. It actually shows that you're enthusiastic, and it wasn't just a random email that you send to all the professors. And yes, sometimes it's actually good to have a little research on the group. If it's really big groups, some of them, they have senior postdocs, so you always can email them and said that, for example, I applied for this position, but I couldn't get hold of Professor X, so do you think there's a possibility for me to join the group? So yeah, to sum it up, you did a master, so no one expects you to be brilliant in research, but the least you can do is just do a little bit of research about their work. That's the least they expect, because it shows that you actually could read the articles, you know their work, and you did your research. And so we come to, so some of you asked about my funding. Yes, I did it. It's called the Marie Curie ITN, the Initial Training Network, which you can find them in Euraccess as well. And most of the people think that it's only for the European people because it's funded by the European Commission, but that's not true. The funding is available to all the nationalities. So they're actually really supportive with the visa. They will give you all the costs back. They'll help you. They'll sponsor your visa. So what is it then? So basically, the researchers that they have the same interest, they come together, they write a grant, and they get this funding from the European Commission, and they start the projects all at the same time. So they'll get the students. Our, for example, project, we had 12 partners. And the good points about this type of project is that you get the chance to travel. So you can work in the different partners based on your project. For example, if there's a specific techniques that you need, you can always go to the other institute and learn it there, or even live there for a month or two and learn those techniques and then come back. And it's a really generous funding in terms of research, so it makes it really easy to go to conferences and travel. I actually really enjoyed it, but it's also at the same time, it's a bit tough because you have loads of deadlines. You have to, so each student, you get certain milestones that you have to fulfill. So you have to write the report every 3 months. You have to go to the meeting every 6 months. You have to give presentations every year. So it is kind of a pressure. And also, for example, because I'm a cell biologist, so every time I would travel, I come back and then I have to start everything from the scratch. So it takes a lot of planning, and you have to be really careful with your schedule. So yeah, that's about it. But just, again, don't think that it's only for the European people. That's not true. I'm from Iran and I did it, and we had many international students as well. So just apply for it. And how you can find them, you go to, for example, if you're interested in a specific topic, go to the Euraccess websites and type in, there are certain networks, so each of them, they have different names. You just find the projects and choose the country that you like and the project and just go for it. And then we come to the PhD itself, for the PhD people. So some of you asked that how hard it is to settle in a new country. Well, it is tough, but I think when you decide to move abroad, I think you have to keep open mind. It is hard to meet people, of course, but then you have to be able to embrace the new culture and make new friends. For me, when I moved to the UK, the first few days I didn't know anyone before coming to the lab, so I just went to the couch surfing websites and meet.com, which the they have certain groups. For example, there was a book club I joined, and I met some people. And then, of course, when you start working somewhere, you meet your colleagues, you meet the other students, and you'll be fine. And then just find a hobby that you like, so you'll meet the people with the same interest. And yeah, so that's the most important thing, is you don't have to wait for the people to come to you. You have to, not active, I would say, be super active, and take the initiative to meet people and try to know different cultures. It's actually a really great experience. Yes, it is scary. You're far away from home. Your family is not there. And it's a lot of pressure doing a PhD, but if you find good friends, they will be your support group. And I think it's really important, actually, to have really close friends. And yeah, and then we come to the supervisor. So of course, it's the most important relationship we will have in that time. And then I would say, because I see many Iranians are joining, I would say that also in any Eastern culture, we have kind of that idea that the supervisor is the superior person, so you can speak out. So we kind of get quiet, I would say. So you have to be able to change that. So don't think it's the classroom. Then just don't wait until someone asks you a question to answer. Just speak up, say what you're thinking. I struggled with that a lot, but then eventually I learned that my opinion matters, and even if it's wrong, you say it. No one is gonna blame you or say it's silly. It's science, just discuss it. So because you're not a master's student anymore, you're not an undergrad, you're doing a PhD, you're a scientist. Of course, it's still your student and you're learning. That's why no one expects you to be perfect. But I think the Eastern culture, we have this thing that we think, oh, maybe I shouldn't say that because it might not be true. So just leave that behind, and yeah, you'll be fine. And yeah, I had a post in Chase That Dream about picking a supervisor. It is really hard because you don't know the person until you actually start working with them. So I would say what you can do is maybe just email the people from the group, maybe, or just go and visit and see how the environment is. And if you're far away, you can always see how, for example, if you want someone always be present, if there's a big group, the supervisor is not going to be able to do that. But if you go for maybe a young professor or really young group leader, then yeah, maybe they'll have more time to support you and be always around. So just be careful on that as well. And you asked how many years is the research. I think it really depends on the country. I know from my friends that I think Canada and in States it's a bit longer, but in UK, for example, it's only 3 years. Mine was 3 years funded, and then last year you have to write up, so you don't get paid, but you basically just writing your thesis. So yeah, I think it just depends on the country. But it's normally between 3-5 years, I would say. And yeah, so you asked about the balance between life and work. I would say that's the hardest questions I got, and I really loved it actually because it really made me thinking about it. I would say it's really tough, but you will learn it. I did, so I think you can do as well. I think after a while, I decided that it's gonna be my philosophy, that I love science, I really do, but I'm not gonna die for it. So, so you have to always remember why you started this, why you started the PhD, and why you're here. There are times that it can get really tough, you'll get demotivated, but just keep something that's as a reminder of why you started this in the first place. For me, for example, I had a screenshot of my emails when I got accepted. So that was something that always makes me happy, and then I would remember how happy I was that day. And yeah, just be in the happy zone always. Try to balance it. For example, if you're a morning person, you know that you work the best in the morning, then just do that. And then take the evenings off. If you think you're more productive in the evening, plan your experiments in that way. Well, it's always not this easy, especially if you're a biologist like me. You have to work in cell cultures, and yeah, it's tough. The experiments are within a time course, so you have to really plan it. And I did struggle with that, and I learned that I have to do micromanagement and macromanagement. So I was planning. I was a evening person, so I was starting my actually my experiments after 2, so I would continue late at night when no one was around. But it works for me, so I needed my sleep, so I would do it. So I think it's really important that you manage that as well, because it doesn't do any good if you just come here in the 7 in the morning and just stare in the computer and be sleepy, and yeah, it's not productive. So yeah, I was talking about planning. It's really important to plan your experiments ahead. You have to be, if you want to be successful, if you want to balance it, but also have a plan for your life. So just pick a hobby and just know that, okay, this day I'm gonna go, I don't know, I'm gonna go dancing, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna do whatever, I just wanna be my friends, so just do that. So just be really careful that you have something outside the lab as well. And also in the lab, you have to be really prepared a day before, a week before. So I started having weekly plans, daily plans, weekly plans, monthly plans, and then long-term plans. So you have an idea. Of course, it's really hard to always get to the point and be really on time, but at least you have that plan, so you try to stick to it. And something else I would suggest, it sounds a bit cliche, but do exercise. I wish someone would have told me way before, but, well, they were telling me, but I didn't take this advice ever. I fortunately started really late, but when I started, I picked boxing because it was just, I really liked it. And I could see the difference in my energy, and it would keep my head out of the lab for some time. So I just do something, find something that you really like. How do I keep myself motivated? Well, I can, if I move this phone now, it will fall off, but I wish I could show you around. I was keeping some stuff. Actually, they're not there anymore. Some of it is gone. I was keeping pictures from the people and just motivation quotes. And again, that screenshot from the email, it really made me happy. And of course, positive results is always something that keeps you motivated. If you get a positive results, you can go on for months and be happy. That's what I'm saying. Exercise is important. I'm just reading the comments. And so that's other thing, a really good point about food. We are life scientists, but then we sometimes forget to eat. Like, this is really simple. You have to take care of your body if you want to be happy and healthy. How can you work if you don't eat well, you don't sleep well, you don't do anything? It can get really tough. So just be careful with that, and try to have a balance. There were days that I was doing a 12 hours time course, and in the middle I didn't have anything to do, but I was just really focused on the research that I forgot to eat, and then of course I was exhausted, and and then of course, you start hating your experiments and hating your life and doubting yourself. What am I doing this? So just don't do that. Try to take care of yourself. If you are a person that you need the 8 hours of sleep, 10 hours of sleep, just do it. So don't skip any meals, don't skip sleep. And again, friends are really important, because especially if you're international students, you're far away from home, and that's your support. If it makes you happy cooking your own food from home, just do it. Even if it takes like 3 hours, just plan it and do it. So yeah, just try to have a life outside the lab as well. It's really important to stay healthy. And you ask about how dealing with the stress. It's actually a really good question. I struggled with anxiety, so it wasn't a great experience. I was having panic attacks, which I didn't know what it was. So I'm in the middle of a lab. Suddenly, I think like I can't breathe, I can't think, I can't do anything. So it was really tough, and there was no specific reason for it. It was just the pressure, and it's no one's fault. So the only thing you can do is just ask for help. Don't isolate yourself, and don't think that you're alone and you're the only one suffering from this, because even here in England, sometimes I think it's kind of like a stigma that you don't talk about anxiety and depression, and yeah, especially back home, no one does it. But that's not a problem. It's fixable, and you're just feeling a bit down, and just ask for help. I went to therapy, and and all the suggestions I just made you, I tried to find a hobby, and tried to find the best time that I was most productive, and then I was just to stick to that, and and then just ask for help. And another point about the lab is, I talk about the supervisors, postdocs. I'm going to talk about, it's really important, I would say. My experience working with a really great postdoc it was a lifesaver, actually. So just ask for help, because at the end, it's in the name, it says PhD student. So you are a student. Don't think that you have to know everything, even if it's a simple thing, especially if you're new and you can't find your way around. Don't let that ego of, oh, I'm doing my PhD, it's a silly question, be in the way. Just ask, and ask for help. If you don't want to go to your supervisors, just ask the postdocs or anyone in the lab to help you out. And how many vacations did I take? I didn't take much, actually. Well, yeah, and I will come to that as well. It was just about the visa stuff, because either I was applying for a visa or I was waiting for my visa, so I didn't take that many vacations, I would say, and I didn't have the time really. But whenever I did, I was just trying to be home for 2-3 weeks, or also because I was traveling a lot. So I spent in Amsterdam a month and Sevilla 2 months for my work. So it wasn't a vacation, but it was just a change of scenery, kind of. So I think it was kind of vacation, but work vacation. Yeah, you're doing your experiments in a sunny Spain, so you can't complain. So about teaching, yes, so again, it depends on the country, but in any university, in any department, you will get chances to do some teaching. So just, for example, in the UK, we have demonstration, they call it. So you basically, you go to the practical modules of the undergraduate students, and then you have certain amount of the students that you have to take care of during that 1-2 hours. But anyway, anywhere you are, I think you will have students in the lab that you have to take care of, even if they're summer students or they're doing their project. So you have to help out and supervise them. So that counts as teaching. But you can always do more if you're interested in. If this is something you want, you can always ask for more and be more involved. Yeah, so now we come to life after the PhD. This was really hard because I'm also in that stage. Just, yeah, well, some people say if it's worse doing the PhD if they don't want to stay in academia. Well, the first thing is if you're aiming to stay in academia, then yes, the PhD is necessary, especially now. It's so competitive, everything. So you need this degree. But anyway, if you want to go to industry, there is this myth that I'm also dealing with right now that it says if you are doing your PhD, basically you're just losing the time, 4 years of your life, and then you can't get a job. But I don't think that's true. So, I mean, if you don't want to do the PhD, if you don't want to be a researcher, you want to work for a company, just do it if that makes you feel happy. But if you want to be senior scientist in the companies, then you'll need a degree. Most of the applications I'm looking at now, they ask for either a PhD or even a postdoc background. So it's not like if you get a PhD, you only can stay in academia. That's not true. So, yeah, I think I was reading, yeah, so because the industry is different in a sense that some people says, oh, because I'm coming from academic backgrounds and PhD is really academically structured, I might not fit in the companies, but you have to also know that it's not just about the research that you learn during your PhD. You have so many transferable skills. For example, problem solving, working with deadlines, working under pressure, planning. All of these things are useful for the industry as well. So don't think that that's something that, oh, I just did my PhD and I waste my life. And no, that's not true. You'll pick up so many things as well. But you also have to be careful when you want to structure your CV for the industry. You have to really emphasize on those skills. Say that, for example, I have problem solving because of this, so you have to make a reference for each, or just logical thinking. We all get that. So don't think that they're not useful and you wasted your life, because yeah, that's not true, absolutely. And yeah, so yeah, if you want to, say, in my opinion, in general, if you want to stay in academia, well, that's the only path you have. But if you want to go to the industry, don't think that this qualification doesn't serve you, because it does. I'm just reading your comments. What is Novartis? I don't know what it is. So yes, I think, let me think if I went through all your questions, hopefully. Yeah, there are many specific questions about applications and how you do it and all these things. Again, yeah, maybe I'll just do another video just to go through all of those things. But yeah, again, it's really important, just search your keywords when you want to apply and find the right project. Just if you want to go for a specific country, so just do that. Go to the country, find the list of the universities, and then look at the different departments. So you have to spend some time. It takes a lot of time. So just do that. And you asked about the difference between CV for academia and the industry PhDs. I don't know much about it. I tried to read a bit. I guess, yeah, well, again, you have to be more specific on your skills that you gain through your master's degree. Not only the science part, but also the transferable skills. So just focus on those as well. And oh yeah, another important point I remember now, if you want to have a job in the industry, just try to get engaged during your PhD in other activities as well. Yeah, I mean, you're doing your research, and that's absolutely great because you'll get your PhD. But, for example, just go to a workshop about management and business, or just try to get involved organizing workshops or do something extra that your CV will stand out. And yeah, I think that sums it up. I'm just gonna go through the questions, see if I missed anything. Yeah, I wish I could save this actually. Some of them are nice. Oh yeah, sorry, the interview you asked. I have a couple of minutes. I'm gonna go through quickly. The interview, well, for my PhD, it was so basically for my master degree, I chose to do a project. So I worked on a project for a year, and then I gave just a presentation for my panel, for the PhD panel, about my project. So it was 15 minutes. I basically just sum it up, but I also had to give a bit of a background of myself, but I didn't have much time. So what I did was I just put a map, and then I just said where I'm from, and with the arrow, then I said I went to Sweden, and then an arrow, I hope I go to the UK. So that was my first slide. And the questions, yeah, of course, is about your research. So they want to know that you know what you've done, and also about their work, what you know, what is the recent topic, what are the challenges, what are you going to bring to the project, why do you think you will fit in, what else I can think of. Yeah, so how much training do you need? And yeah, just things like that. I will think about this, and maybe I'll maybe do another video or something, because yeah, there are lots of things about the interviews. Is completely different area. Yeah, so basically for the industry, I think because I had a couple of interviews, it's really different. So I did an interview for senior scientist, and what they asked for was it wasn't scientific at all. It was more personal questions. So they want to really get to know you and how you'll fit in the group. So they ask that, just for example, give us a scenario where you didn't wait for the permission of your boss, and you did something, you take initiative, and why was that? So it was a tricky question. So yeah, it's difficult. So it's a different system you have to learn. It's called STAR. So you have to state your answers. So you have to say, there was this situation. So you have to explain, and then I felt like this. So you show that you're sympathetic and you understood the situation, and then you say, and I did this. So you took action. So that's a different system, but that's like after the PhD. That's for if you want to go to do a job in the industry after your PhD. So yeah, that's no, I don't have any information about nursing. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, and yes, I'll do another video maybe about the interview. That would be actually a really good idea, because yeah, it's a really wide topic. And yeah, I think it's time now almost. If you guys have more questions, I'll be happy to answer. I think I went through all of the things that you said, except the really specific applications ones. And the visa, oh yeah, something I forgot quickly about the getting the money back for your trips. One of you asked. It's, yeah, you will get it back. And I think it depends on your project and funding, but most of them you get reimbursed when you travel, or because you get paid end of the month when you start your PhD, so you'll get that month's reimbursed. But also it depends on your funding, so let's see about that. And yeah, if you don't have any more questions, I think that will be it. I hope it's yeah, it's useful, and I wish you all good luck. Just don't just like keep applying. If they don't reply to you, just email again, and yeah, just be hopeful. And then yeah, for the current PhD student, just keep it up. You're almost there. It's really tough. Some days it's, yeah, you just think like, why am I doing this? But just have that reminder in your heart that why you started this. So just keep that in mind. Yeah? Okay, guys. Thank you so much. And yeah, thank you for listening, and wish you all the best. Bye.